Jesus Christ, superstar. Do you think you're what they say you are? Jesus Christ, superstar. Do you think you're what they say you are? So, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus Christ Superstar is a musical that I've had the pleasure of actually being in, and it came at a really important time in my life. I'm not going to get too personal here, but I grew up in a divorced household with one side of my family being incredibly religious. And I remember when my dad and my stepmother came to see the musical, as we were driving home, my stepmother turned to me and she said something like, "They cut out the resurrection. That's kind of the most important part. I would have liked to have seen that." And I thought to myself, of course they did. That's the point. The last lyric sung in the entire show is, "Are you what they say you are?" The musical asks a lot of questions that it's not really interested in answering itself. Is Jesus the Son of God? Christians will answer yes, non-Christians will answer no, and the musical doesn't alienate either answer because it's not interested in answering the question at all. The more I look at it, the more I'm interested by this musical. I just want to cover one part of this. I only want to cover, the final scene, the crucifixion scene of Jesus Christ Superstar. And then I'll end the video. So get ready for 8 fucking minutes of this. Part 1, posing the question. I'm going to quickly summarize all that you need to know in terms of Jesus Christ Superstar plot. It's not really a spoiler because it's just the plot of the Bible. I would still recommend that you go watch the musical, even if you watch this video all the way through. It's a great musical. I would personally recommend the 2000s independent film because it's a fucking gay train wreck and it's hilarious. I love the person who plays Judas. I love the person who plays Herod. Gay mess. Just go watch it. So if you don't know, in the musical and also Christian theology, Judas is disloyal to Jesus. Judas, one of Jesus' disciples, turns Jesus into the authorities for a small amount of money. He does this for various reasons depending on your interpretation of the Bible, but the musical presents one simple reason. Judas doesn't know if Jesus is the Son of God like he claims. He thinks that Jesus insinuating that will make the state have an excuse to worsen the ethnic oppression against Jewish people in the region. So he turns Jesus in, gives away his location to the cops, and this eventually gets Jesus crucified. But Judas, seeing the torture the state puts on Jesus, begins to feel guilty, and in his guilt he kills himself. After this, we watch a trial scene between Jesus and the legal authority Pontius Pilate, and Jesus is sentenced to death. And when Jesus is sentenced to death, we get this. Judas comes back. He and the ensemble sing the titular number, the best number in the show, and the entire time, the lyrics are posed as questions. Jesus Christ, who are you? What have you sacrificed? Do you think you're what they say you are? Judas and the entire ensemble are asking Jesus the question, when this is all over, are you going to come back? Are you Jesus, the Son of God? And again, it doesn't answer this question, but they press forward. Judas brings up Muhammad and Buddha and asks, are they where you are? Are they the same as you? Both of them also claimed to have divinely imparted knowledge. What makes them different from Jesus? But I think the musical is saying even more than that. It's already saying quite a bit with just one character interaction. But I think it goes a little bit further. Since the question is multiple choice, since it's a yes or a no for if Jesus was the Son of God, well, the only way we can tell is through this resurrection. If Jesus is the Son of God, then he resurrects. And if he's not, then he doesn't. But the musical is saying something different. Because the musical doesn't show Jesus resurrect. But look who's singing to Jesus. Judas kills himself before this. When he reappears on stage, he, in effect, resurrected from the dead. The musical isn't asking if Jesus will resurrect from the dead. It's asking why that would ever even matter in the first place. Part 2. Complicating the question. Regardless of your religious beliefs, people interact with the Bible in the same way, as a story. It has a narrative with a setting, a plot, and characters. Some people regard that story as true, some people don't. At least from my personal experience, biblical study, and especially youth groups, are really focused on the what of Christianity. A pastor will sit you down and he'll read you a story from the Bible, tell you what it means, and tell you what you should take away from it. And that's about it. No one really examines the literature and the narrative of the Bible. They don't understand people's emotions. It was actually a meme in my personal youth group that Jesus had emotions at all. I remember we used to always make fun of the phrase, Jesus wept, as if it was funny that Jesus could ever show emotion, that Jesus could ever be a person. He could ever show actual emotional depth. And the musical just takes that idea and it throws it into garbage. Weber is known for his focus on emotion over story. Jesus Christ Superstar cares about Jesus' feelings and the feelings of those around him. That's what the entire musical is about. Jesus Christ Superstar is, just like the Bible, a narrative. And I think that when Judas resurrects, the story is comparing itself to the Bible, and it's asking a really hard question. What makes the Bible a religious text? What makes anything a religious narrative? Why can Judas be resurrected in a narrative and have it go unnoticed, but Jesus is resurrected in another story, and it's not only believed, but the basis of a whole political and ethical system in Anglo-America? Judas is asking, when he comes back to life, why isn't he the Son of God too? What makes shit like this, different from shit like this? All of this is to say, if I don't see a musical theater religion spread about, like Shrek the Musical or shit like that, I'm gonna literally commit arson. The musical, again, doesn't answer that question. I think we could all infer what the answer could be based off of, bare fucking minimum exposure to Christianity. But the musical is asking a whole bunch of questions with just one simple character interaction. What makes the Bible and no other religious text the one that should be believed? Why not the Quran or the Vedas or Jesus Christ Superstar? What is different narratively about the Bible than any other religious text? And again, Christians will answer one way, non-Christians will answer another. The answer to the question doesn't really matter. And all of this comes just from a character re-entering on stage. By the simple act of Judas singing this song, the musical calls into question the authority of the Bible. It complicates its own questions, either intentionally or otherwise. And it asks, is Jesus the Son of God? And if so, how do we know? And why can't I be the same? Part 3, conclusion. And that's really one of the reasons that I don't think that art can be apolitical, because we always enter a piece of art with some form of internalized personal bias. We are political creatures, so art that we consume is political by that nature. And the musical loves this. It frames itself right in the center of a hot-button political issue. Is Jesus the Son of God? And it just lets you answer for yourself. My stepmother obviously infers yes. And that's why she wanted to see the resurrection. She wanted proof that her opinion was the correct one. And that's really why I don't care about going into the musical and finding all of the reasons that the musical says, no, Jesus wasn't the Son of God, trying to extrapolate my own opinion from the musical. Because I would be doing the exact same thing that adding the resurrection would be doing for my stepmother, adding my own personal bias and adding the answer to the question into the musical. The musical asks, is Jesus the Son of God? And it answers pretty spectacularly. Who the fuck cares? Hey, so this video didn't really talk that much about suicide, but I feel it necessary because it does. I'm leaving a few links in the description. If you're having a hard time or if you just need help, please go to the description and contact people who can help you. You are important and you're very valid.